President Donald Trump said on February 22, the United States is close in agreement with Ukraine on sharing revenue from Ukrainian minerals, as part of efforts to end the Ukraine war. He said the United States wanted to recoup the billions of dollars in military aid Washington has given to Ukraine in its fight to repel Russian invaders.
Europe gave it in the form of a loan. They get their money back. We gave it in the form of nothing, so I want them to give us something for all of the money that we put up, and I'm going to try and get the war settled, and I'm going to try and get all that death ended. So we're asking for rare earth and oil, anything we can get. And Europe should put up more money than us. But even if you said the same thing, how come we went so far out front? We're going to get our money back because it's not fair. It's just not fair. And we will see. But I think we're pretty close to a deal, and we better be close to a deal.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Zelenskyy said he was willing to give up his position if it meant peace in Ukraine, quipping that he could exchange his departure for Ukraine's entry into NATO.
Якщо мир для України, якщо вам дуже потрібно, щоб я залишив свій пост, я готовий. Друга історія, можу поміняти це на НАТО, якщо є такі умови одразу, щоб довго про це не говорити. Я фокусуюсь на безпеці України сьогодні, а не за 20 років. І не збираюсь бути у влади десятиріччя. Тому це, напевно, мій фокус і бажана мрія.
Zelenskyy also said he wanted to see U.S. President Donald Trump as a partner to Ukraine, and more than simply a mediator between Kyiv and Moscow. Worldwide News Report.
Following the February 23 elections, the conservative CDU and CSU bloc secured just under 30% of the vote. Germany's conservatives, led by Chancellor candidate Friedrich Merz, are determined to form a government swiftly, with Merz emphasizing the need to restore Germany's global influence and reliable governance.
Aber jetzt werden wir miteinander reden und es geht vor allem darum, so schnell wie möglich eine handlungsfähige Regierung in Deutschland wieder zu schaffen mit einer guten parlamentarischen Mehrheit. Denn, liebe Freundinnen und Freunde, die Welt da draußen wartet nicht auf uns. Und sie wartet auch nicht auf langatmige Koalitionsgespräche und Verhandlungen. Wir müssen jetzt wieder schnell handlungsfähig werden, damit wir im Inneren das Richtige tun können, dass wir in Europa wieder präsent sind, dass auf der Welt wahrgenommen wird, Deutschland wird wieder zuverlässig regiert.
In a surprising turn, the far-right alternative for Germany came second with 20%, marking its best result ever.
Wir haben ein historisches Ergebnis eingefahren. Wir waren noch nie stärker im Bund. Wir sind zweitstärkste Kraft geworden als Alternative für Deutschland und wir haben uns als Volkspartei nun fest verankert. Und ich muss eins sagen, unsere Hand wird immer ausgestreckt sein für eine Regierungsbeteiligung. Den Willen des Volkes, den Willen Deutschlands umzusetzen. Wir sind bereit für eine Regierungsbeteiligung. Unsere Hand ist immer ausgestreckt, den Willen des Volkes umzusetzen.
While their influence is growing, the AfD is still unlikely to join a government, as all mainstream parties have ruled out collaboration. Analysts suggest the party's strength could shape Germany's political landscape in 2029. Worldwide News Report.
In a significant move, Israel deployed tanks to the northern West Bank on Sunday, marking the first such deployment in over 2 decades. The decision follows a series of attacks, including explosions near Tel Aviv on February 20, which Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu called an attempted mass attack. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, announced an expansion of military operations in Palestinian refugee camps in Jenin, Tulkarem, and Nur al-Shams, with the goal of dismantling militant infrastructure. Tanks are now stationed in Jenin as part of the offensive. Over 40,000 Palestinians have already fled their homes, with widespread destruction in the area. This marks the latest in a month-long military operation targeting militants in the West Bank. Worldwide News Report.
Pope Francis remains in critical condition at Rome's Gemelli Hospital, after being diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs. Admitted on February 14 for difficulty breathing, the 88-year-old pontiff required oxygen and blood transfusions following a severe respiratory crisis. On Sunday, the Vatican called for prayers, with crowds of faithful gathering outside the hospital to offer support.
Tristissima, non so come come si possa continuare nella normalità in questo momento. Io sarei soltanto in preghiera, tutti quanti in preghiera per lui, perché un uomo del genere per me è una persona speciale, non ho parole, veramente.
The voice of the Pope is so important at the moment. The world is full of hatred, and he's a voice of love. He echoes what Christ told us 2,000 years ago. So we need him a lot, and we hope that he will be healthy very soon.
Archbishop Rino Fisichella urged attendees at Mass in St. Peter's Basilica to intensify their prayers for the Pope's recovery. Francis, who has been battling health issues, had part of a lung removed years ago due to pleurisy. Worldwide News Report.
On February 24th, the UN Security Council took a crucial step toward peace, adopting a US-drafted resolution marking the third anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Despite Russia's veto power, the resolution received 10 votes in favor, with several European nations abstaining. Acting U.S. ambassador called it a first step towards ending the conflict.
This resolution puts us on the path to peace. It is a first step, but a crucial one of which we should all be proud. Now we must use it to build a peaceful future for Ukraine, Russia, and the international community.
While the U.S. seeks to broker peace, European allies and Ukraine remain cautious about President Trump's approach, fearing that peace talks could sideline them.
And the terms of the peace must send a message that aggression does not pay. This is why there can be no equivalence between Russia and Ukraine in how this Council refers to this war. If we are to find a path to sustainable peace, the Council must be clear on the war's origins. Thank you.
The resolution focuses on the loss of life and urges an end to the conflict, but key nations stress the importance of addressing Russia's aggression. Worldwide News Report. Ukraine hosted European leaders on Monday to mark 3 years of all-out war with Russia, while top U.S. officials stayed away, in a clear illustration of President Donald Trump's lurch towards Moscow since returning to power.
Europe gave it in the form of a loan. They get their money back. We gave it in the form of nothing, so I want them to give us something for all of the money that we put up, and I'm going to try and get the war settled, and I'm going to try and get all that death ended. So we're asking for rare earth and oil, anything we can get. And Europe should put up more money than us. But even if you said the same thing, how come we went so far out front? We're going to get our money back because it's not fair. It's just not fair. And we will see, but I think we're pretty close to a deal, and we better be close to a deal.
Still reeling from Trump denouncing as a dictator and accusing him of starting the war, Kyiv said it was in the final stages of agreeing a deal with Washington to provide access to its mineral wealth. Ukraine and the U.S. are working productively on an economic deal at the center of an effort to end Russia's war on Ukraine.
And we need to meet as soon as possible to define the terms of peace and security guarantees. Our teams are already working productively with the U.S. on economic agreement, which we hope to sign in Washington. And President Trump, we would really like to hear from you, because all our people, our families are very worried. Will there be support from America? Will America be the leader of the free world? And I want to be very honest. It's so important that American support, American assistance remains.
Zelenskyy made the remark in Kyiv during an address, through video linked to the leaders of G7 countries, during which he repeated that both Europe and Ukraine should be involved in a peace process. Worldwide News Report.
After talks with U.S. President Donald Trump and the White House, French President Macron stressed that the peace deal should not force Ukraine to capitulate, starting with a truce and moving towards a full agreement with security guarantees for Ukraine.
Et donc, nous, ce que nous avons préparé, en particulier avec nos partenaires britanniques, dans le cadre d'un travail très étroit qu'on a mené ces dernières semaines, et partagé avec tous les pays européens et alliés qui sont prêts à s'y joindre, c'est l'idée de dire on est prêt à apporter ces garanties de sécurité. Les conditions, elles doivent en être définies. Elles doivent être définies par l'accord. Ça peut aller jusqu'à l'envoi, comme l'a dit le président, de troupes qui iront observer que la paix est bien respectée, qui iront se positionner, pas sur la ligne de front, pas pour justement, en quelque sorte, être dans le conflit, mais marquer une présence comme une garantie.
Macron highlighted Europe's readiness to contribute, proposing a peacekeeping force to ensure the peace agreement is upheld.
Et je veux vous dire combien, après ces échanges avec le président Trump, je suis convaincu qu'il y a un chemin. Nous avons partagé nos convictions, nos exigences, nous savons tout le travail qui reste à faire, et donc dans les prochaines semaines, nous avancerons ensemble et nous aurons l'occasion, nos équipes puis nous, de nous revoir dans des formats différents pour faire de cette paix solide, durable, j'espère avec beaucoup de force, une réalité de court terme. En tout cas.
His visit to Trump marked a significant shift toward a more unified approach to ending the conflict. Worldwide News Report.